The wind carried the scent of freshly cut grass and distant rain across Arlington National Cemetery, where rows of white headstones stood like silent soldiers under a steel-gray sky. Margaret Harrington, her silver hair pulled into a tight chignon, adjusted the pearl brooch at her throat and stared at the woman before her. Sophia Collins clutched her 2-year-old daughter, Lily, so tightly the child's red coat bunched under her arms. Lily's teddy bear dangled from one small fist, its ear frayed from too many nights pressed against a grieving mother's cheek. Sophia's eyes, swollen and red, flicked to the headstone behind her. Ethan Collins, beloved husband and father, 1988-2023. The cross etched above his name seemed to mock the emptiness in her chest. She had come here every Sunday for 6 months, but today was different. Today, Margaret, Ethan's mother, had shown up unannounced, her black suit crisp as the day of the funeral. "You shouldn't have come," Sophia whispered, her voice cracking like thin ice. Lily squirmed, sensing the tension, and buried her face in her mother's neck. Margaret's lips thinned. "He was my son, Sophia. I have every right." The words landed like a slap. Sophia turned away, shielding Lily from the older woman's gaze. The cemetery was quiet except for the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of traffic on the George Washington Parkway. A groundskeeper pushed a mower far off, the sound muffled by the hills. Margaret stepped closer, her heels sinking slightly into the soft earth. "I didn't come to fight. I came to see my granddaughter." Sophia's grip tightened. "You saw her at the funeral. You didn't even hold her." "I was grieving," Margaret said, the excuse sounding hollow even to her. She reached out, then let her hand fall. "Ethan would want." "Don't." Sophia's voice sharpened. "Don't tell me what Ethan would want. You didn't visit when he deployed. You didn't call when he came back broken. You sent a card. One card." Margaret flinched. The truth stung worse than the November chill seeping through her coat. She had always been the general's wife, stoic, controlled, untouchable. When Ethan enlisted against her wishes, she'd seen it as betrayal. When he married Sophia, a waitress from Fairfax with no pedigree, she'd seen it as rebellion. And when the IED took him in Helmand Province, she'd seen it as punishment. But Lily was the only piece of Ethan left. And Margaret had stayed away, too proud to beg. Sophia shifted Lily to her hip and started walking, her boots crunching on gravel. "We're leaving." "Wait." Margaret's voice cracked, the first fracture in her armor. She followed, her pace quickening. "Sophia, please. I made mistakes. I know that." Sophia stopped but didn't turn. "You think a cemetery apology fixes 2 years of silence?" "No," Margaret admitted. "But I'm here now. And I'm asking, begging, for a chance." Lily peeked over her mother's shoulder, her brown curls framing a face that was Ethan's in miniature. She pointed at Margaret. "Gamma." Sophia's breath hitched. She had never taught Lily that word. Ethan had, in the videos he sent from Afghanistan, promising his daughter a grandmother who would spoil her rotten. Sophia had deleted those videos after the casualty assistance officer left her porch, unable to bear his voice. Margaret's eyes filled. "Yes, sweetheart. I'm your grandma." Lily wriggled down, her patent shoes scuffing the path. She toddled toward Margaret, teddy bear dragging behind her. Sophia watched, frozen, as the child stopped at Margaret's knees and held up the bear. "Teddy's sad," Lily said solemnly. "He misses Daddy." Margaret knelt, her skirt pooling on the ground. She took the bear gently, as if it might crumble. "I miss him too." Sophia's resolve cracked. She sank to the grass, pulling Lily into her lap. The little girl crawled between them, a bridge neither woman had known how to build. They sat in silence, the headstone looming. Sophia traced Ethan's name with trembling fingers. "He wrote me every day," she said finally. "Even when he couldn't send them. He kept a journal. Said if anything happened, I should read it to Lily when she was older." Margaret nodded, throat tight. "I have his medals. The Purple Heart. The Bronze Star. I kept them in a box. I didn't know what else to do." Sophia looked at her then, really looked. The lines around Margaret's eyes were deeper than she remembered. The woman who had once dismissed her as temporary, now seemed small against the vastness of the cemetery. "I don't know how to do this without him," Sophia confessed. "Lily asks for him every night. I don't have answers." Margaret reached into her purse and pulled out a small photo. Ethan, in dress blues, grinning at the camera. On the back, in his handwriting, "For Mom, proof I clean up nice." I found this in his things, Margaret said. The army sent a box. I couldn't open it for months. Sophia took the photo, her thumb brushing Ethan's smile. He hated that uniform. Said it itched. Margaret laughed, a sound like breaking glass. He always was stubborn. Lily yawned, her head heavy on Sophia's shoulder. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the graves. Sophia stood, brushing grass from her jeans. It's getting cold. We should go. Margaret rose too, smoothing her skirt. May I drive you home? Sophia hesitated. The drive from Arlington to their small apartment in Alexandria was 20 minutes of awkward silence or tentative truths. She looked at Lily, already half asleep, and nodded. The Mercedes smelled of leather and lavender. Margaret drove carefully, as if the car might sense her nerves. Lily dozed in her car seat, teddy bear clutched to her chest. Sophia stared out the window, watching the Potomac glide past. I used to take Ethan to the Air and Space Museum when he was little, Margaret said quietly. He'd stand under the Wright Flyer for hours, convinced he could build one someday. Sophia smiled despite herself. He tried. In our garage. Nearly set the place on fire with a model rocket. Margaret chuckled. That sounds like him. They passed the Pentagon, its lights flickering on against the dusk. Sophia's apartment building appeared, a squat brick complex with a broken elevator and a superintendent who never fixed anything. Margaret parked and killed the engine. I'll walk you up, she said. Sophia started to protest, then stopped. Okay. The hallway smelled of curry and stale cigarette smoke. Sophia unlocked the door to 2B, revealing a living room cluttered with toys and unopened mail. A framed photo of Ethan in his fatigues sat on the coffee table, surrounded by Lily's crayons. Margaret stepped inside, her heels muffled by the worn carpet. She set her purse down and looked around. It's cozy. It's home, Sophia said defensively. Margaret nodded. I have a guest room. In McLean. It's too big for one person. I thought, maybe Lily could visit. Weekends. Or, whenever. Sophia busied herself with Lily's coat. I don't know. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Margaret said. Just, let me try. For her. Lily stirred, rubbing her eyes. Gamma stay. Sophia's heart twisted. She looked at Margaret, saw the hope flickering in eyes so like Ethan's. One night, she said. Trial run. Margaret's smile was small but real. Thank you. They ate macaroni and cheese from a box, Lily smearing it across her tray while the women talked in fits and starts. Margaret told stories Sophia had never heard. Ethan's first bike crash, his obsession with Star Wars, the time he tried to adopt a stray cat and hid it in his closet for a week. Sophia shared the parts Margaret missed, the way Ethan sang off-key in the shower, how he cried when Lily was born, how he'd planned to open a garage after his tour. Night fell. Sophia bathed Lily while Margaret washed dishes, her manicured hands scrubbing dried cheese with surprising efficiency. When Lily was asleep in her crib, Sophia found Margaret in the living room, holding Ethan's photo. I kept thinking if I'd been a better mother, he wouldn't have enlisted, Margaret whispered. Sophia sat beside her. He enlisted because he wanted to protect people. Like he protected us. That was Ethan. Margaret's shoulders shook. Sophia hesitated, then put an arm around her. The older woman leaned in, the scent of lavender mixing with Sophia's coconut shampoo. I'm scared, Margaret admitted. Of messing this up again. Me too, Sophia said. But Lily needs family. And, maybe I do too. They stayed like that until the clock struck midnight. Margaret slept on the couch, her suit jacket folded neatly over a chair. Sophia lay awake, listening to Lily's soft snores and the unfamiliar sound of another heartbeat in her home. The next morning, Margaret made pancakes, lopsided but edible. Lily demanded, Gamma, flip them, giggling when batter splattered. Sophia watched from the doorway, a strange warmth spreading in her chest. When it was time to leave, Margaret knelt by Lily. I'll see you soon, okay? We'll go to the museum. See the airplanes. Lily hugged her neck. Promise. Promise. At the door, Margaret turned to Sophia. Thank you. For last night. Sophia nodded. Drive safe. The Mercedes pulled away, and Sophia stood on the stoop until it disappeared. Lily tugged her hand. Gamma coming back. Yes, Sophia said, surprising herself with the certainty. She is. Weeks turned into months. Margaret came every Saturday, bringing books and outrageously frilly dresses Lily adored. They visited the cemetery together, leaving daisies, Ethan's favorite. Sophia started calling Margaret Mom by accident one day, and neither corrected it. One spring afternoon, they picnicked near the reflecting pool. Lily chased pigeons while Margaret and Sophia sat on a blanket, sharing a thermos of coffee. I found something, Margaret said, pulling an envelope from her bag. Ethan's journal. The one he wrote for Lily. Sophia's hands trembled as she took it. The pages were filled with Ethan's scrawl, stories of deployments, jokes about MREs, love letters to a daughter he'd never hold past infancy. Read it with her, Margaret said. When she's ready. Sophia tucked it away. We'll read it together. All of us. Lily ran back, collapsing between them. I caught a feather, she announced, holding up a pigeon feather triumphantly. Margaret laughed, the sound bright and free. Sophia joined in, the weight of grief lighter than it had been in years. The sun set over the monuments, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. 3 generations sat together, bound by loss and love, the cities hum a lullaby around them. Ethan was gone, but in the space between a grandmother's tentative hand and a mother's healing heart, he lived on.